The last set of empires we're going to look at are the European empires. And we really need to understand the European empires in the 15th century because this is a turning point in Europe's history, but also the world history, because this is going to be a time when they begin to expand and colonize the rest of the world. We're going to look at 5 major things when we look at these European empires. One, we're going to look at the plague, and it had a huge effect on Europe as well. We're going to look at the strengthening of their economy because of the Crusades, the 100 Years' War, and the Renaissance. Finally, we're going to look at all this is going to add up to maritime expeditions or sailing to explore. So first, the Crusades. The Crusades were wars to take back the Holy Land, but actually the effect that the Crusades had were tremendous, and it wasn't necessarily that they took back the Holy Land. It was that it expanded trade between Europe and Southwest Asia. That is huge. The Crusades also lessened the power of the Pope, and when we see the fall of Constantinople by the Ottoman Empire is going to take back Constantinople, we see a true weakening of the Christian Empire. The Crusades started the commercial revolution in Europe that increased trade, which means that there need to be more workers, more cash is going around, and with more cash going around, that means there's new types of power. Kings and queens aren't the only powerful people. Rich merchants are going to start to be powerful. It's also going to revive learning. People are going to experience new ways of life. These Europeans are going to interact with Muslims, interact with Chinese, interact with, maybe some Mongols, and they're really going to learn new ways of life and want to learn more about these new ways of life. The Renaissance is really going to bring back some humanism, and as they interact through trade, bring back humanism. And the key word here in humanism is human. Humanism is the belief that people are powerful and capable of amazing accomplishments. So they still have a lot of religion. However, they're starting to believe that, wow, look at humans, we can do amazing things. Specifically when it comes to explorations, they're going to see the Portuguese sail, Christopher Columbus sail, and Vasco da Gama sail around and say, wow, look at these amazing people. Look how all the cool things that humans can do. The difference between Chinese and European maritime expeditions, we mentioned this when we talked about the Ming Dynasty, but I want to come back to it. The size. Here's a quote here. All the ships of Columbus and da Gama combined could have been stored on a single deck of a single vessel in the fleet that set sail under Chiang Hai. And so that is just amazing to think about. Also, the motivation, as we talked about with the Ming Dynasty, the Europeans were seeking wealth and trying to spread their culture, and the Chinese were not. Okay, the bubonic plague, the Black Death, the plague, whatever you want to call it, it began in Asia, traveled through trade routes, and killed 1/3 of Europe's population. So that's going to leave a lot of room for people to grow in status. The church is also going to lose some power here because people felt like their prayers were not being listened to and are going to start to criticize the church. Here we see the route of the plague starting in Asia, going through. Then once it hits the Ottoman Empire and hits the trade routes that were created by the Crusades, it's really going to spread through Europe as well. Okay, the 100 Years' War. 100 Years' War is between England and France. Historians use it as a marker to end the medieval period. France will end up winning. It started because the English king claimed to have the right of the French throne. However, the French will win. The most important takeaway from the 100 Years' War is this feeling of nationalism emerging in England and France. Nationalism is extreme patriotism. It's extreme love for your country to the point where you actually think your country is better than others. And so because of this, we see people fighting for the glory of their country and not simply for their lord. And that's going to play a key part when we talk about colonization. These European countries are going to colonize because they think their country is superior, is better than others. So this is really going to be a changing part of the world. And when Columbus interacts with the New World, we'll see all of this emerge over into the Americas. Thanks. Bye.